You cannot be fooled. You cannot be deceived. You see through the veil. There's realities, dimensions that you see into. You are connecting to the part of yourself that is an interdimensional being. Okay? You found this video for a reason. You decided to watch it, to click on it for a reason, a very important reason. Okay? Um, yeah. So basically, your brain, and I'm talking everyone, our brains lie to us on a constant basis. We are narrating what we think this reality is. Your brain invents stories. You have figured this out, or you're on the brink of figuring this out here. There's these frames that we put together. What this world actually is, we build it. There are different consciousnesses that we sync up to, and we help build and create what this reality actually is, what is actually going on here. And it's kind of like the movie Divergent. In the movie Divergent, it's like there's a flaw in the system. And some of these souls have become awakened to the structure and what everything is kind of like forced, and the prison that everyone is like self imposed that they're in, they chose to build to be in. And there is a way that you've become awake. And once you become awake on any level, you can't go back to sleep. You can't, you know. So there's something here that you see that other people don't see. There's something here that it's almost like your own mind trying to work against you, but it cannot, because of what you have now figured out. So this is all very interesting now, how you're utilizing this. There's like knowledge coming to you, and this knowledge coming to you, how are you going to utilize this? What reality are you going to create now? How are you going to spin this? Is this energy here? And this is like, uh, it's like this second right now. Did you really live your whole life? Or were you just implanted right now with all those memories, and everybody else was also implanted with the memories that they were a part of from their own perspective? How do you know? It's like all we have really is right. It's just right now. That's really it. And in this right now, you can see how is the way that this is going to become clear to you. And actually, this consciousness is just expanding, expanding, expanding. Our consciousness started, and the consciousness expanded. The consciousness of the ground, the consciousness of the water. But before that, it was the consciousness of the particles that make up those things. And then the consciousness was born of different, small organisms and bacteria. And then the conscious, it built and it built and it built. And it grew to the point where we are now, where all this stuff is here. But what's here in your reality? Because you had a hand in putting it there, or it wouldn't be there. Every leaf, every word you hear on a news broadcast when you walk by on the street, every person, are they real? Are they fake? You put them there. You put them there. It's like what happens before it happens, it starts way before it happens. It's like the ball that is rolling way before it got to this point down the hill. It had momentum that was built up. Somebody was bouncing it in the air, and then they hit it down. So what is going to happen down there at that part of the hill was already in motion way before, when someone was hitting the ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like you're falling like a dance, and you're falling. It's a constant state of falling and syncing up with. But what you're syncing up with right now, you queued it up way before. Way, lifetimes before. Let's say you're going to go on a trip to Italy. Let's say this. Your entire life, every time you heard anything about Italy, anytime you heard anything about anything you associated with Italy, you put it into this. Way before you even know you were going to go there. Every single person and how you feel about your life, how you feel about this, how you feel about flowers, how you feel about everything. Every person that you're going to meet on that trip, anyone who's going to go with you, all of your consciousness is synced up enough on enough subjects. They were close enough and enough of the vicinity to, by the time you actually get there, what is going to happen? There's already all these probable levels of things that are going to happen because of the experiences that you have already had, where you have put them, where you have stored them, the vibration that you're holding. And then when you go there, there's similar things that you already put there. And then how you react in the moment. But where it all falls when you meet it has to do with your whole life before now, and every consciousness that you have synced up to, that you match to at some level. And it builds what that trip actually is. And in real time, you can change it. You have some power over it, but it's not the same percentage as if you got out ahead of it, if you caught the wave early. You know what I'm saying? This is like, why is this building this way? Why is the weather this way? Why is that person and this kid is so annoying over here? You're doing all of it. You and everybody else involved, it's all a co-thing that is happening. And if you were not synced up with any of that, you wouldn't be there. You would, walk down the street and not see any of that, not hear any of that. You would have a completely different experience going down the very same street. So it's like we're really building what this world actually is. And this is so important because this is why we keep incarnating here. Because we're building what this is. And when we're building what this is, we're becoming what we already are. So when you pass away, when you are light being, you already are this fully evolved. All your incarnations have already happened. You're one with all that is. You are the endless possibility. And you are just beginning all in it's the same circle, and it doesn't start or end anywhere. Okay? You already are that. And we are incarnating to become what we already are. To build what already is. But it's like we have to come in and we have to do it. It's like in the Harry Potter movie when Hermione and freaking Harry do the time travel necklace. And She's putting it together as it goes. Oh, she sees the little shell and she's like, oh, I'm the one that throws this shell. We're not leaving. I'm warning us. Your spirit guides and in other incarnations, you're picking up on things. Oh, I'm supposed to throw this shell to alert them to leave because we're not leaving. There are ways that when you go to the other side and you're planning your next life, this is the thing. But then once you incarnate, once she does that time travel, she has to be in the moment and kind of be alert and catch things. And if she didn't throw that shell, right? If she didn't throw that shell, they wouldn't have left. They would have gotten caught. It would have ruined the whole thing. That incarnation would have played out, and then they would have had to come back with everybody and do it again. Because you're becoming who you already are when you're here. That's why we're here. We're playing out what we're already owed. We're learning what we need to learn. We're experiencing what we need to experience to be that, to reach that. And it will take as long as it needs to take. It will take as long as it needs to take. But there's something here about, when we're incarnating here, we're making all the possibilities possible. So when consciousness spreads in a positive direction, it has to spread in a negative direction as well. So this is how we are creating what this world actually is, what everything actually is. But we only need the option of the negativity. We don't actually have to experience it. We just need the option. Hermione and Harry just had to go back in time and have the opportunity to throw that shell to get them to leave. Or it's a rock. What the freak did she throw? A little pebble. It's so cute. Has a little swirl on it. Anyways, they have to have that opportunity to do that. But they don't. When Harry saves himself, Hermione has to tell him, your dad's not coming. You think it's somebody else, it's you. And this is another thing that we're all starting to kind of realize, that our higher selves, our spirit guides here, source energy, love, those things exist when we choose to be them, when we choose to embody them. If no one incarnated anywhere chose to be the vibration of love, would love exist? Would love even exist? Us down here, experiencing the opportunity of love or hate or anything in between, that's what makes love actually real. If nobody incarnated and had the opportunity of anything, then nothing would be possible. Because the universe is nothing. It is empty space. It is nothing. If you think about it, we don't matter at all. Nothing matters at all. Nothing is just empty space and nothingness, if you think of it all. But then everything is happening in this empty space. So everything couldn't matter any more than it already does. It's so important. It's so important. It's so important. So figuring this out, we realize and we catch, and Harry had this moment when he realized, oh, that's not my dad saving me. Maybe it was me. and the pressure is cooking and the moment's about to play out and they're about to miss this moment, if he doesn't say, you know what, I'm going to step outside of what I know, what my brain has told me, what my everything up until this point has told me, and I'm going to take this chance to be divergent, to do something different than the pattern I have always done. And he stepped out there and he did expectar patrona. Something like that, I don't know. But he says, his thing, his little, and he saves himself. So he was becoming what he already was. This is what we're doing here. And we're breaking out of the pattern that we're in this reality, in our own mind. Because our mind is building what's out here. So this is all in and of itself. This is all in and of itself. And it's like we're the projectors. And what we think is happening to us, we're actually projecting it. And it's twisting and twisting and twisting. And then there are these cycles that happen because we would go literally insane if there wasn't gaps of time in between this. So there's cycles. That's the structure of the nature of what has been built here. The cycle of the seasons, the cycle process of the earth, going around the sun and turning towards the sun and away from the sun on a daily basis, the seasons, the ocean tides, the moon, blah, blah, blah. Everything, all these cycles. And what this was built upon our consciousness back when we were just the planet, built this kind of like a structure. So we would have a way to catch it. So there would be, the structure allowed for the freedom. The structure allows for the freedom. Is what it really is. And we see that. So then we get this chance to catch it and to break out, right? So our own mind, we're incarnating here to break out of these patterns that are cages that cage us in our subconscious mind, and to build and to grow and to create, to expand consciousness. So no matter how much we expand it down that negative path, the opposing positive path must be created as well. So all we're doing is just delaying the positivity. We do make it harder to get to it as we do that. But at the same time, the reward becomes that much greater. And not really the reward, but the equal opposite of what we keep on choosing. It ends up being better and better. So it's so beautiful all at the same time. But everything you see outside of you, you had a part. You synced up with it in some way by choosing this consciousness to focus on, choosing this to be at, to vibrate at, to be in this state. All this stuff is in front of you. You're being at this state, but this stuff that's in front of you, you actually put it there, queued up way, way, way before. And then in the now that you're experiencing it, how you respond, what you choose, state you choose to be at, and what you choose to focus on in that state builds what's coming in the future. And it's just this game of you're constantly falling and you're syncing up with what you queued up back here, back here, back here, at all these different points. And everything else is just people, everything in front of you, everything that is just all these molecules that synced up together, that synced up together, that synced up together. And it just keeps happening. It just keeps happening. But we have to come back, because we have to finally be Harry Potter that says, okay, my dad's not coming. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do this. And then we get a step closer to becoming what we actually are. So all of this reality that is built up around you, everything. You hear about if you heard about the pyramids, that they have all this stuff underground there. You discovered something within your mind that opened your mind up to something about past lives, to something about wonder, in that direction of wonder and bewilderment. And maybe there is something more than whatever your context was that was boxing you in. There's something that you kind of went, and because of that, we discovered on this planet that all of the collective consciousness made that discovery, built that, made that. Even though it was implanted way before. Time doesn't matter. Time doesn't exist. We built that. When there's a collective consciousness that we can sync up to, and there's been a bunch of fear going around, right? And so then there's a shark attack, and you hear about that shark attack. We contributed to that shark attack happening and to being in the receptive energy to hear about that shark attack. Because each one of us that heard about that shark attack, somewhere there's some level of fear that we played into, and we created that vibration. We synced up to that vibration and added to that vibration. That's why that happened. Number one, that's why we heard about it. Number two, and where you heard about it, when you heard about it, how you felt about it. Were you there? Did it happen to you? That's just a reflection of the intensity of the vibration of that happening that you were in a match to. We're building this world. We're building what happens to everyone, what we hear about, what structure is here, what animal is here, everything. What kind of, decoration is here, what background noise is happening, everything. And where we go within the world of our mind builds what's in this world. That's what's happening. We're doing it. And to change it, you have to break out of your own mind. But you have to use your own mind against your own mind. You have to be bold enough to sync up to this other part of yourself. And to do that, you have to dive into the unknown, the fear, the blank space within your being. Because what you have built, this prison that keeps you in here, there's fear there, there's pain there, there's some kind of pain, there's some kind of fear that keeps you here. That's why you built this. That's why you attracted this. That's why you set this all up and you don't realize it. That's what's happening here. And this is so, when you know this, now you're really getting somewhere. Okay, now you're alive. Welcome. Now you're waking up. This is why we keep coming here. So we can remove these blocks that we have put in, these patterns that we have put in our own mind. And we see that they're nothing. We can push it over and it's nothing. But before we try to touch it, it's solid cement, rock. We're trapped. It's real because you made it real. And how to change what you make real, you have to be willing to go into the emptiness. Because out in the emptiness, that is where everything is happening. And that is how you scale back. And then you can flip it. But you have to push through your own constructs, your own fear, your own pain. It's the only way. It's the only way. It's the only reason that you're actually here. And then you get to start to build with what is going to make this reality love, basically. All just different forms and levels of love. And the more that you do that, you're creating more of this love, of this true consciousness, the divine consciousness being embodied on this planet in this incarnation. And so you're creating more of that energy. And so more of that will be available to the other beings incarnated. So then they will have, it's like making a light brighter. So then they can see. And then when they go there and they shine their light, now this light is even brighter. You see what I'm saying? But it's up to them if they're going to go towards that light, if they're going to shine their light even brighter. But you're still creating more light when you do that. You are. You're, instead of adding to the fear, which leads to a shark attack happening, right? You're adding to the love. So you're adding to someone who is lonely and homeless and been on drugs and giving up on their life. You add to them, finding a job and changing their life and loving themselves and, finding someone who loves them and, being a beautiful, happy, loving individual. You're making more of that possible just by you being love and loving yourself and moving past what you have already got going on here. It's like what you're choosing to think about creates frames. And you have to go through those frames then. And you have to face those frames. And they match what vibration you were at. So if it's a vibration of dread, man, you got some frames of some things happening that are dreadful. But the higher the vibration, when you hit this dreadful experience, if you choose to make your state of being more peace, more love, which is hard to do, but if you do it, it can be done, right? This is Harry Potter stepping out of, hey, no, I'm waiting for my dad to save me. That's what I know. No, you got to take that opportunity, right? When you take that opportunity, then you're changing the vibration of what's coming. What are you building back there? You're going to build a little bit of dread, a lot of peace and love and hope. Versus if you respond to the dread by being angry, you're building more anger and dread to come. There will be a gap of time, of course, in ways. It depends on a lot of things. But that's what's happening here. That's what we're doing. We're building all of these frames here. And you can get higher in the level and higher in the level with your vibration. And when you do that, then these other energies, it doesn't have access to you. And you aren't in the vicinity of them. And this is helping raising this consciousness of this planet. This is what we're here to do. This is how we are becoming what we already are. And we keep expanding and we keep expanding. So then more need to come incarnate here to help, to pull us all up. The more people that you have that are hanging off of a cliff, the more people that you need to help pull them up. What even happened just now? Okay. Thank you. I love you.